on pattern.
Baseball is the single most difficult thing to do in sports. It requires natural ability, physical dexterity, and mental alertness. Ted Williams was the last man to hit 400. Perhaps he is right. Hitting a baseball just might be the toughest thing to do in sports. Major League Baseball, in cooperation with General Mills, brings you all-star batting tips. Five of baseball's batting stars, past and present, got together with me and discussed our favorite subject, hitting. If you wanted to talk hitting, the 5 hitters you'd probably most likely want to talk to are the fellas sitting with me, past and present, some of the greatest hitters of all time. Pete Rose, Mickey Mantle, Stan Musial, Willie Mays, and Harmon Killebrew. And Stan, was there anybody along the way in your hitting career that you tried to copy?
No, I didn't, Tony. I had a very unique style, and I had a crouch style, and the reason I had that crouch style was kind of short in the strike zone, and when I first came up, I just tried to punch the ball to the opposite field and just try to meet the ball, so that kind of gave me my style of hitting my crouch, but I felt very comfortable.
Would you advise a young boy to copy your batting stance?
No, I wouldn't. That was, no, I think everybody has to be themselves, and the main thing about a stance is not the stance so much, but coming out of that stance to have a good level swing.
First of all, you've got to get a bat you can handle.
You've got to get something you can handle. I did this myself. I used to pick up a guy by just look at his name and say, gee, this is better, I want a swing, and his problem was too heavy for me. So now you look at a kid and say, well, gee, this kid is small. Get him a lighter bat. This kid is big. Get him a heavy bat. But this big kid might not be able to swing that heavy bat. Just give him. So he's got to get something to go with him.
Mick, what about a young boy going out his first time out and selecting a bat? What would you advise a young boy picking his first bat out?
Well, as fast as the pitchers are getting nowadays, I'd tell him to get him a real light bat that he can get around real fast, because it seems to me that the pitchers are getting a lot faster, and most of them, when they come up to the majors now, they have watched TV and they know how to pitch. Used to be, when I first came up, if a guy was real fast, he'd just try to throw it right down the middle. But now they're fast and they can move the ball around. They throw a lot of change-ups. And I think if you have a real light bat, that you can control it a lot better than you can a real heavy bat.
Mickey Mantle's suggestion of choosing a real light bat is the first step to becoming a good hitter. Switch hitting Larry Bowa, the 155-pound shortstop of the Phillies, uses a light bat that he can swing fast and level. Greg Luzinski is a powerfully built slugger. He can grip the bat from the end without sacrificing quickness. To further illustrate the importance of bat selection, Luzinski and Bowa make an exchange. Larry Bowa would be helping the pitcher if he tried to swing a bat as heavy as Luzinski's. However, Luzinski has complete control with Bowa's light bat. The first rule of hitting is choose a bat that you can swing and swing fast. Harmon, I see you've got a bat in your hands there. What about a boy or anybody gripping a bat? What kind of grip would you suggest?
Well, I like to just grip it like I'm picking up an axe, Tony. I like to feel a bat back in my hands, and I know Stan would disagree with this. He likes to get it out in his fingers, but I like to feel a bat because I feel that when I swing, the bat comes out into your fingers anyway.
Harmon Killebrew, a picture-perfect example of a fine hitter. Harmon, who's the best hitter you ever saw?
The best hitter I ever saw, I think, was Ted Williams.
Ted Williams, perhaps the most technically perfect hitter of all time, smashes a home run in the 1956 All-Star Game. A slow-motion study of the Ted Williams batting stroke reveals a comfortable stance, total concentration, short stride, and a smooth swing and follow-through.
I think the best hitter maybe right now that we're talking is Henry Aaron right now in baseball.
What do you think makes him a great hitter, if there's one thing?
I think he's able to wait and keep his hands back and swing real quick at the ball.
he's mostly a wrist hitter. He hits at the last second, and when you think the ball is past him, he will hit the ball quick.
Right out of the catcher's glove.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, he'll hit it hard.
Hank Aaron is a wrist hitter with one of the quickest bats in the game. The slow-motion camera captures the Hank Aaron method of hitting. Watch how Aaron's bat is on the ball just as it gets to home plate. He hits the ball where it's pitched, another principle of good hitting. Hiram, when you first broke in, I can recall back your days with Washington, young boy, 18, 19 years old, you struck out a lot.
Still do, Tony.
But you worked at it, and you made yourself a good hitter. What were you thinking about along the way and cutting down your swing, or what were you doing?
Well, I always tried to develop a better strike zone, and I think this is important probably for the younger boys, is to work on a good strike zone. I'm still working on that strike zone because it's a difficult thing, I think, and it takes a lot of practice and concentration on the ball.
The strike zone. All good hitters know what it is and where it's located. Ted Williams never swung at a pitch that was even a fraction out of the strike zone. Once the hitter is in his natural stance, any ball that passes over any part of home plate and is between the armpits and the top of the knee is considered a strike. Watch Mickey Mantle. He has the entire plate covered with his bat. He doesn't crowd the plate. He doesn't stand too far from it. Mantle can get the bat on any ball thrown in the strike zone. The most powerful switch hitter of all time shows how he protects the plate. Here's Mickey batting right-handed. This pitch catches the outside corner, and Mantle goes to right field. Frank Robinson, the only player ever to win the Most Valuable Player award in both leagues, is a real student of the strike zone. Seldom do you see Frank swing at a bad pitch, in a game or in batting practice. Stan, what did you try and do in batting practice? There's a lot of slumps starting batting practice.
That's right. What I tried to do in batting practice was hit line drives. I just concentrate and tell myself, hit line drives, but it's pretty hard in batting practice because a lot of the fans come out and watch these sluggers want to hit the ball in the stands, you know, and of course we go right with them, and it's a great feeling, hit the ball, meet it good, and hit it a long way.
I used to just live for batting practice.
Well, you know, your background in hitting comes from the streets of New York and stickball, doesn't it?
I played stickball. It could be. I don't know. I played both, and I felt that stickball helped me a lot in hitting the breaking ball. Stan was talking about he was a punch hitter. What about the 5 home runs you hit against us?
Yeah.
Well, just think, I could have joined Mantle and Kilbury in that home run derby and yourself if I'd have gone for home run. Yeah, it's funny. Isn't that funny that when you're trying to hit a home run, you very seldom hit it. Yeah, right.
I did it one time in Houston off of Claude Raymond. He threw me 13 fastballs. And I'm still looking for a breaking ball. You figure on the last of the night, if he throw you 12 or 13 fastball, he's got to throw a breaking ball in between just to let you see it. But he challenged me, and I hit a home run. That's the first time I remember just going for a home run and really hitting it.
You made it sound as though you might guess sometimes up at the plate. Would you advise a young boy or anybody to go up there guessing for a certain pitch?
Well, what I try to do, Tony, I try to hit the pitcher's best pitch. If I know he's a fastball pitcher, he's going to throw that fastball when he's in trouble. If I know he's a breaking ball pitcher, he's going to throw the breaking ball. This is what I want to know if a pitcher throws a lot. But I wouldn't advise to go up there and guess because sometimes that ball can hurt if it comes a little closer.
I get it. The hitter has only a fraction of a second to decide if he's going to swing. Don't guess at the plate, but look for the pitcher's best, hardest pitch. What are you looking for, Willie, right from the pitcher's hand? You looking to hit the center of the ball, the top, or the bottom?
I'm not that smart.
That's pretty fine, isn't it? That's pretty fine.
We have so many strong kids coming in the league.
Yeah.
I just can't concentrate. I just have to try to hit the ball somewhere. I don't care where it goes. But my theory right now is when I came in, and I was taught when I swing, try to hit the ball hard. And it goes different way it goes. Just hit it hard. And I have enough power, I think, to hit the ball out to right field, over the fence, or even to left. And all I want to do is hit it hard. If I don't hit it hard, then I'm upset a little bit.
Reggie Jackson took a page out of the Willie Mays hitting guide in the 1971 All-Star game. Jackson hit one of the longest shots ever seen in Detroit's Tiger Stadium. Here's a close-up look at the Reggie Jackson swing. Al Kaline, at age 20, won the American League batting title. He was the youngest player ever to win it. His smooth, level swing is a thing of beauty. Pete, talking about switch hitting, you would recommend a young boy starting out switch hitting?
I sure would, Tony. I think it's just common sense with that curveball. I think that's the best pitch nowadays. These pitchers are curving the slider, and it's coming into you. Very few pitchers in our league throw a good screwball, and I think that's the only one that gives a switch hitter trouble. It's an off-speed screwball. But you get that curveball breaking into you, it's got to be easier to hit, I think.
And this is where platooning got its start. The reason was basically sound, as we'll show you. A curveball coming into the batter's power is generally easier to hit than one breaking away from it. Now, let's turn the situation around, giving the pitcher the advantage. The ball breaks away from the batter's power and clearly shows why most switch hitters have an advantage over the pitcher. Yeah, Mick, you had a different swing right-handed than you did left-handed. You had a little bit of an uppercut left-handed.
Yeah, I struck out a lot more left-handed than I did right-handed. I think it was because of that. Pitchers, I had a real bad weakness left-handed. A fastball in on me and up, anywhere up, I couldn't. I was trying to hit it like that, and it was pretty bad.
You think you're a better hitter right-handed?
I was a lot better hitter right-handed.
Really?
I hit about 340 or something like that right-handed and 250 or something left-handed.
Willie, did you ever think of trying switch hitting?
I did it in high school, John.
You did?
Only in softball, though.
Yeah.
When I came to the majors, I just felt that just sticking one way. But I agree with Pete right now because if a guy can switch, they're going to keep him right away.
Yeah.
Because he have a lot going for him right away of switching both ways. But I think with me, it's just too late for doing that.
Right.
I think a guy have to start very young to learn how to get out of the way both ways of the ball.
Right.
It'll hurt you, Tony, because take a guy like me. Like I'm 10 pounds bigger than Willie. I'm close to 200 pounds. And I'll hit from 15 to 20 home runs a year. And I think the reason for this is because one day I'll be batting left-handed and batting practice, and the next day I'll be batting right-handed. But Mickey just had a home run hitter swing. I got a compact swing. And I just try to hit the ball. I just think it's hard for me not to hit home runs, and I'm big enough to hit home runs.
Wait a minute, you improved now. The first year you came in the league, I used to play you behind second base.
I used to be a Judy, but now I'm a strong Judy.
His compact swing, knowledge of the strike zone, and tremendous concentration are three reasons Pete Rose is a 300 hitter. Talking about rotation of the ball and how you pick up and tell the difference between a fastball and a curveball. How do you tell the difference?
Well, I think a curveball is a different altogether between a slider. A slider is mostly, to me, is a little different between a fastball. It breaks a little quicker at the end. But a curveball, you can tell it all the way. At least I can, as it's breaking down.
By the rotation or the speed or what?
Oh, a lot of guys like Merritt. He's got 2, 3 different types of curve, and each one he throws the different rotation on the ball. So some he throws fast, some he may just spin it up there. Sam Jones had one like that. He may throw one from the top, and the rotation of the ball was a little different. Then he'd come down, he'd drop down a little different. Then the rotation of the ball may be a little different there.
I like to think of myself as a complete player, not just a hitter. At the plate, I just try to meet the ball cleanly. Fielding's something else. Rhythm's a thing. You make a clean pickup and throw almost in one motion. Just as I like to think of myself as a complete ball player, I know that an athlete, or anyone for that matter, needs complete nutrition every day. That means the right foods at the right time and in the right amounts. The food experts at General Mills recommend the basic 4. These are the breads and cereals, the meat group, fruits and vegetables, and milk and milk products. 4 basic foods I need, you need, every day if we're going to play on anybody's team. Starting tomorrow, let's have a good breakfast, just like the one you see here. Then practice good nutrition all day long. You just might feel a big difference. I sure know that I do.
You can pick up the type of pitch by rotation or by speed. A curveball is slower than a fastball, but requires years of practice in order to hit it consistently. Stan Musial's method of recognizing pitches was based on how hard a pitcher could throw.
I used to concentrate on the speed of the ball. I would never worry about the spin so much. I'd analyze a pitcher's fastball and had an idea how fast he could throw the ball. And when I get up to the plate, I time my swing according to his delivery. If that ball jumped up there fast, I knew it was a fastball. And then it was a curve, a little slower. I could adjust. So I never worried about the spin of the ball too much, but the speed.
Pete and Mick, what did you know? We've got two differences of opinion. Stan says the speed of the ball to judge what pitch it is. Willie says you watch the rotation.
Well, that's really the only time I have trouble hitting, when I can't pick up the rotation of the ball. Because usually I can tell if it's a slider or curve as soon as it leaves his hand, or a fastball, you know. And I'm like Stan, I try to look for the guy's best, hardest pitch. You know, his hardest pitch is usually a fastball.
Pete, you were talking about Ted Williams and mentioned that name, and he likes to talk hitting. I know you've talked to him.
Oh, he was a great hitter, but, you know, when I get up to hit, I just try to keep my weight back and just get the barrel of the bat out in front of the ball. But he started talking about it, trying to make a hippie out of me, I think. He's trying to get my hips into the ball and worry about my hands and my back foot and everything, and I just can't think about too many things.
Stan, what about hip rotation? What about the stride?
Only thing I really worried about hitting is overstriding. I think is one of the worst parts about hitting is the overstride, because you can do so many things overstriding. If you're striding well, you're on top of the ball, swinging level. Why, I think the hip and all this other action will come naturally. I would never worry about it too much, but the stride is very, very important. I like to go into the ball and step into it and meet it, but sometimes I'd go in a little slump by overstriding and trying to hit the long ball, trying to hit the home run. So I try to tell these young fellas to learn the strike zone, take a good level swing, just try to meet the ball, and they'll be hit 300 hitters.
Knowing the strike zone, taking a good level swing, and meeting the ball. 3 Stan Musial principles that Frank Robinson and other good hitters follow on almost every pitch. What about when you're up in the batter's box and you've gone into your stride? Where should that weight be? What's the weight distribution?
I want mine back, like Pete said. I don't want to commit myself.
Balls your feet, heels?
The back one. I try to curve it in, my back feet in, so that I can't drag it. When I start dragging my feet, I'm in trouble. Because I know that I committed myself and I'm dragging it all the time, and I don't have no problem whatsoever there.
Is there a different technique hitting the high pitch and the low pitch? You swinging down on one, up on the other?
I don't want to think about it, because when I start thinking at the plate, I'm just about dead. I just want to just make contact.
Willie Yogi Berra said they were talking about hitting, and he said something like, how can I hit and think too?
I've talked to a lot of good hitters, and but one point that they all say is concentration on the ball. That's one of the most important things in hitting. And if you concentrate on the ball, you're going to overlook a lot of faults in your hitting if you're watching that ball real good.
And nobody ever watched the ball better than Ted Williams. Again, complete concentration on each and every pitch separated Williams from other hitting stars. Pete was talking about, Willie, about keeping that weight on that back foot. And one of the fine right-handers in baseball, right-handed hitters, Henry Aaron. Sometimes you see him out on that front foot, and he still hits the ball.
But the bat is still there.
His hands are back.
You may see, I've seen Hank do it a lot of times where you think he has committed himself, and then you see him like he's falling, but the bat is still there. And this is what I try to do. A lot of guys say, well, gee, why don't you hang in there? Your feet is, you're going this way. But my feet may do anything, but the bat is still there, waiting for the ball. I want to come through with it all the time.
Clemente is a good example of what you're talking
bailing
about.
out or stepping out of the box, and he still hits the outside pitch.
Still hit that ball, and he stands back from the plate.
Roberto Clemente, this 4-time batting champion, is king of the clouters when it comes to hitting to all fields with equal effectiveness. Harmon, who influenced you most on the way up?
I think I was fortunate to have a fellow that when I was developing in my younger years that knew something about hitting. And I think he helped me formulate a pretty good batting style, and he gave me the good fundamentals of hitting.
What points that he gave you have you carried right on through your major league career?
I think that keeping your head still, keeping your eyes and concentrating on the ball, getting a good pitch to hit, and I like to keep my hands out away from my body. Now, I know Mickey held his hands in, Stan did, Willie holds his in a little bit farther, and Pete probably holds his farther out, but I like to have my hands out away from my body. And
feel you can move quicker from that position?
Well,
You know, I like it. And you say you're holding your head still. Or what? You actually don't hit the ball right field too much then, because if you're gonna hold your head still, you got to be concentrating on and really getting into that ball. So that's why I think he throws the ball more than maybe myself. Well, my head moves all the time because I go a lot of way go to right field.
Have you changed your hitting style since leaving the Polo Grounds? You know, with that wind out and candlestick?
I have to change. Yes, I have to change because, like I said, the pitchers are strong and they're keeping that ball outside. And if you try to pull it.
Willie Mays points out another important hitting tip. The high average hitters are usually the ones who can hit to all fields. Here's Roberto Clemente belting an outside pitch to right. Hank Aaron smashes an outside pitch off Vida Blue in the 1971 All-Star Game in Detroit's Tiger Stadium. When you go with a pitch, you eliminate the possibility of an overshift by the defense. The hitters also avoid those nightmarish batting slumps. Let's talk about batting slumps. It's a tough subject, and I know you've all got your own ways trying to get out of a batting slump.
I think the important thing about a slump is the ball player doesn't let it carry too long. By that I mean, if you're not hitting the ball well 3 or 4 days, why you'd go out and take batting practice and have somebody watch you. I had one coach that used to watch me. If I wasn't hitting the ball good for 3 or 4 days, I would tell Buzzy Where's our coach to watch me and see what I'm doing wrong. Then go out take batting practice, correct it. But you don't let this thing go on, a slump go on for 2 or 3 weeks, because that could ruin a season for you if you let it carry on too far. So that's very important.
What'd you try and do when you were in a slump, or when you are in a slump?
Well, Leo taught me this a long time ago, Tony, is that when I was in a slump, when I first came up, he said he'd bring me out like for 10 or 15 minutes, and I have to hit everything in right field, everything in right field. He said to me then, that means I'm on top of the ball. That means I'm not pulling away from the ball. Then, as I hit for 10 or 15 minutes, I automatically pull the ball up and set aside. And I seen, got out of it.
Harmon, do you have a remedy that you use to try and get out of something like that?
Well, there's all kinds of slumps, Tony, physical and mental slumps. And I think if a player can know himself how he hits, and as soon as he gets in a slump, he knows immediately what to do and not wait for somebody else to correct him. I think this is the best way.
These Major League stars are gifted athletes, 5 of baseball's greatest, giving helpful hints on the art of hitting. Now let's review a few techniques to remember. First is bat selection. You swing the bat doesn't swing you. Get a light bat that you can get around real fast. Second, your stance is your own. Don't copy your favorite player. Find a stance that's comfortable, one that initiates a good, level swing. Third, concentration. Keep your eyes glued to the ball. Know the pitcher, his pitches, and the strike zone. Don't swing at bad pitches in a game or in practice. Concentrate. Fourth, the stride. That short, quick step the hitter takes before making contact. Don't overstride. Overstriding usually takes place when you try to swing too hard. Fifth, a good level swing. Hitters that stroke the ball usually have a good level swing. Hitting is timing, not necessarily strength. Be aggressive, confident, swing level, follow through. Keep your eyes on the ball and watch your batting average climb. Sixth, practice. Practice is the springboard to success, but make sure you practice the right techniques, not the wrong ones. What you do in practice will greatly affect what you do in the game. So take it seriously and practice, practice, practice. Pete, if you had to talk about the biggest thrill you ever had in baseball with a bat in your hands, what incident comes to mind?
I think the biggest thrill I ever had is the day I got 5 for 5 off of Gaylord Perry to win my first batting title. I think that's something I always remember. Outside of the first time I ever put a uniform on. I think that's the biggest thrill I ever had, just putting a Major League uniform on in my hometown.
Nick, how about you?
Well, I guess it would be in the World Series against the Cardinals, and it was the 9th inning, and it won the game, and it also broke Babe Ruth's home run record in World Series play. It was my 16th one, and I think that's the biggest thrill I ever had.
Stan, what about your biggest thrill as far as having a bat game?
Tony, getting in a World Series is a big thrill for every ball player. I got in the World Series my first year in big leagues. That was a great thrill playing against the Yankees. And, of course, hitting the 5 home runs or getting a 3,000 hit was a great thrill. It's really a great thrill getting 3,000 hits. But I think, as Pete mentioned, I think the big thrill about being a big league ball player is when you put on a uniform, just play big league baseball. You're doing something that you love to do, and I think that's the thrill about all this, putting on a big league uniform.
Willie, can you remember one incident where you pop one out of the ballpark or the 500th home run? And
Well, I like
600.
I missed 100, didn't I?
I like to pick the 4 home runs that I hit in Milwaukee, Tony. I hit 4 home runs there, and I wasn't even supposed to play. I was kind of sick, but when I hit 2 home runs, I'm just through. I feel that you're not going to hit anymore. But when I hit the 3rd one and the 4th one, it's just so much excitement going on that you never. I don't think you ever have another day like that. And I think only 9 or 10 guys have accomplished that, and I was just very proud of that.
Harmon, what about your biggest thrill hitting?
Well, I feel like the rest of these fellas that anytime you go out on the major league field, it's a thrill, and to get a home run or a base hit that wins the game. But I think my first full year in the big leagues, I hit a home run opening day and one on the last day of the season to tie Colavito for the home run championship. I think that was.
Pete, if you had to think of the most important points that you'd want to remember in growing up as a boy, what would you think they were to remember about hitting?
I think that the thing that is most important is practice. Something that the kids don't do nowadays. Just
good hard work.
You just got to go out and practice on your own a little bit. Like Willie said, play a little stickball. These kids, these coaches, these little league coaches do a tremendous job. But they can only get off work so much and practice once or twice a week. And I got some nephews that play little league baseball, and they get like 10 swings a week because of the short
Everybody wants to be a pitcher.
And well, it seems like that's the easiest thing to do nowadays.
Yeah. What would you think or say when you're up at the plate, when the pitcher's got the ball in his hand, the most important thing that you should be thinking about up there at the plate?
Don't get hit with it.
Watch the ball or what?
Well, you know what?
Concentration, it all comes back to the same thing, concentration.
You know what Mickey just said about getting hit? I think sometimes our little leaguers, they worry about getting hit, and they shouldn't worry about getting hurt and getting hurt in athletics, because everybody's out there trying to do the best. Nobody's out there trying to hurt you. And I think if our youngsters keep that in mind and don't worry about getting hurt, why, when you worry about getting hurt, that's when you really get hurt.
Mick, who had the greatest influence on your life as far as growing up? And did you idolize anybody special?
Joe DiMaggio was always my favorite player in the Yankees, and Musial and Ted Williams, all those guys. I think the guy that had the most influence on me was my father. He loved baseball more than anybody I ever knew. That's all he ever lived for, was for me to be a ball player. He used to drive me up to see Stan and the Cardinals play all the time. But he taught me to be a switch hitter, and like Pete says, I think that the best thing you can do is just get out and get you about 5 or 6 guys and play all day, where you're up 50 times a day instead of, I don't have anything against Little League Baseball. I love it, but I think that the parents tend to take it a little too strongly, and like he said, if you just play when the game's on, you're only up 4 times, and if you got 25 players, they try to let them play a little bit too, so you're not up that many times. But
kids
I think
should be
you
enjoying it.
choose up sides and just play all day. I think that's the best thing you can do.
Guys, thanks a lot. We've been talking informally about hitting. Some of the greatest hitting stars, past and present, in baseball. Pete Rose, Cincinnati Reds. Mickey Mantle, a future Hall of Famer, ex-Yankee. Stan Musial in the Hall of Fame. Willie Mays, another future Hall of Famer. Harmon Killebrew, a great home run hitter, MVP in the American League. Going to walk in the Hall of Fame, too. Thank you all so much. Major League Baseball, in cooperation with General Mills, has brought you All-Star Batting Tips.
In today's world, it's food, fashion, fun and games with a capital G, General Mills.